Okay, so let me go back and ask you more logistical questions. Okay, so outside of the governmental contracts that you've done, who did you work with on the private side? Did you ever do anything with, Exxon? Did you ever do anything with major oil companies, CEOs? Who did you work with on the private side?
We didn't do any private side CEO executive security. We found that to be a little too tedious. We did very high-end government work in the worst of places where there is a very high likelihood of kidnap, murder, mayhem, and protecting against that, of not just a simple one-off attacker, but a complex attack of 10, 15, or 1,500 attackers coming for a facility.
So you know how sometimes, when you're a fighter and somebody that's been fighting for 30 years, and you can tell when a guy's going into the ring, you say, this guy's scared right now, right? Something's off with him right now. Especially a coach, somebody that's been coaching fighters for a long time, and he knows the difference between practicing in, the gym versus the lights on you, everything's on you. You're like, this guy's off, okay? For someone like you that has been working on the missions you've been working on the last however many years when you were doing Blackwater and previous to that, you'll know fairly quickly if somebody in the middle of a battle, what happens to them, right? For some people, if you've seen the movie Fury and you see Brad Pitt in the movie Fury, and the one soldier they're shooting, he doesn't know what to do. He pees his pants, right? He just can't even control himself because he's so scared, right? You see something like this, you see that person's not capable. Why is that person here? Why is this person there? But the part that it gets me to be thinking about is purely logistics. And I want to just start off with that, and I got a set of other questions for you. So meaning we're preparing for an event that's coming up in Pennsylvania. Then you go there the president getting there. So 2 weeks before the event happens, we're there in Pennsylvania. President hits the stage. He's speaking during, then post. Purely logistics. What are you doing when you're talking to AV? When you're making sure all the different agencies communicate with each other to make sure it's somewhat centralized? What are you doing to prevent any of these possibilities from happening? How do you process all those together?
The most important part of a security team really is the advance work. That's what you're talking about. The guys that get there 2 and 3 weeks before to map out, to figure out where what we call the sniper hotel, the most likely places the enemy sniper would locate from which to attack you. You go from the most obvious to the least obvious. And it's a process of elimination. You just lock out those possibilities. Clearly, they didn't even lock out the most basic and most obvious of possibilities here. And you make it so that when the actual close protective team that arrives with the principal has a very clear brief of what to watch out for, of where the rally points are going to be, where the evac points, where the primary, where the secondary is. You have all that pre-briefed. What you saw, as you were alluding to about the fear, is you can train out a lot of that because you can dial up the pressure and the heat and the tension in training so much that when it's real, it doesn't feel that different anymore. Because whether it's with simunitions, right? These are actual high velocity paint rounds that they hurt when they hit you. You can simulate a lot of the experience. The reason the Navy built Top Gun for the U.S. Navy fighter pilots was that they found that if they can get pilots through the first 10 combat missions, their rate of survivability went way up. And that's what they tried to simulate there. You can do the same thing with very good close quarter battle training with simulations, both real, shooting simunitions, and shooting even laser vests. They have vests now that you clamp onto yourself, and they give you significant pain if you're hit in an extremity, so you can simulate all those things and dial up the pressure on these folks. But I don't think they're doing that. Perhaps it was too hard or not, or they just don't take it seriously. But apparently they need to reevaluate their training because they are clearly not up to the game right now.
In these uncertain times, if there's anything we need people to believe the future looks bright. So if you've heard about me saying this mission to you, we're on a mission to get 1 million people to wear this gear. And this is what we're doing. If you buy one of these hats, there's a category of buying one hat, getting the second one free. If you haven't yet worn this gear publicly, Go ahead and test it out. Buy some of the gear, wear it in public, and see how many people will stop by and say, you also watch Valuetainment? You also follow PBD Podcast? I do too. Place your order. Go to vtmerch.com, click on the link above or below, place your order, and represent the VT and the PBD Podcast gear.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.